Hi everybody, welcome back to another installment of Conversations in Wire with me, your host, James Browning. I am a sales representative here at the Soft Flex Company. We're a jewelry wire manufacturer based here in Sonoma, California. We do have a gallery that's open every Wednesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and we would love for you to stop by and say hi. Today we're doing a really quick and simple video on how to make lettering in wire. This is fairly simple. You just need your tools and some wire and a little bit of imagination and know-how. So let's get started. All right. So today we are going to be working on making little lettered words out of wire. It's really not that hard if you know how to do cursive. These ones I did freehand, basically. But for today's purpose, what I did was I printed out a word on a font that I liked, that I found on the web. And so we're going to make this little joy today together, you and I. So our supplies that we're going to need wire, of course. Today I'm using 20 gauge rose gold. If you find that 20 is a little hard to work with, bump yourself down to 22. The 20 gauge will give us a nice sturdy word when it's all said and done. We won't have to harden the wire too much. For tools, we're going to need a set of cutters, of course, and our ever trusty nylon jaw pliers. Then we're going to need a pair of bent nose pliers and a pair of round nose pliers. We're going to want all the pliers that you have, basically, because each plier tip does something different when it comes to moving that wire. So bring all of them to the table and see which ones you like to use the most. Alright, so because the word that we're going to be making is pretty short, we're not going to need too much wire. I would say give yourself about 12 inches, just because it's a good place to start. And then if you end up having more left over, you just measure it out and cut off the stuff that you don't use. And then the next time that you make the same word, you would know 12 minus whatever's left over, and that would be the amount of wire that you want to use. Alright, and of course, as always, we're going to straighten out our wire. I'm grabbing one end with my pliers, taking my nylon jaw pliers and just running it through nice and straight, and I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and do it the other side. So now what was once bendy and wibbly is nice and straight. Alright, so let's take a look at this word. Joy. This is a really, really fun craft to do for Christmas because you can make gift tags with the person's name, or you can do ornaments and put them on your tree. This is also great for Mother's Day because you can make one that says Mom. And that's sweet. Alright, so the thing that we're going to do is we're basically going to just make our wire do exactly what it's doing on the page. So the font that you find, try and make sure that you're using a script that connects to itself, because the wire is not going to break. And then the endings we will extend, and I'll show you what you can do to like attach them to some chain or something. Alright, so let's begin. So the wire is starting here, so we're going to actually give it like a little twist. We're going to take it so that we can make a connection out of it. We're going to extend the line up, and on this one we're going to do the same. So now we have something to work with. Alright, so let's start here. And I'm going to extend my wire past the starting point just to give it a little bit of help there. Alright, so see, we need to start a loop right there. So I'm going to grab my round nose plier and I'm going to bend kind of went a little crazy there. Alright, so do you see how, because I went a little crazy, I put a little bend in my wire there? So take your nylon pliers and just squeeze that out. That is why we love wire. It's so nice to us. Okay, so we have the loop there, but see, I didn't follow that line very well. So I'm going to take my fingers and I'm just going to push it back a little bit more so that we kind of get that loop. And then there's another loop happening, but it's a tight loop. So I'm going to do that with my fingers here. So this bends up a little bit more, and we'll take this a little tighter, and we'll bend it out that way. Let's see where we're at. Okay, looking good. Alright, so this we need to bend it a little rounded here. You know, since this is a J, we're going to close up this top loop a little to make it easier to understand. So I'm just going to take my pliers and squeeze it. And just bend it back into shape if you messed it up. So basically all I'm doing is just trying to push the wire where it needs to go. Okay, so it looks like I've got a pretty good start there. Now let's move that wire around. Just gently. We don't want to work it too hard. Okay, look at that. We have our first J. Let's close this loop a little. I'll take my round nose pliers and work this shape just a little bit more. See how I took out that bend just with the nylon pliers? And let's see if I can take this and give it a little roundness. I think J's are not very easy to make on this script, because we haven't even got to the O. Now what helps in these instances is if you have a big pair of bail nose pliers, something with a larger nose there that you could bend, create your roundness around. That would give it probably a little bit more of a pronounced look. There, okay. Alright, I'm done. Alright, so now we're going to see where that edge is. And I'm going to put my needle nose pliers right there. And I'm just going to make a bend right there, so I know where that bend is. And because this is a sharp edge bend, I want to squeeze that down to a sharp point. Okay. Now see how that's curving around there? We're going to have to get our round nose pliers in there and get a good bend. Squeeze that up a little. Okay. And just hold your wire and let it. Okay. So there we go. And we're going to do a really tight loop right there. And to make this look more like an O, we're going to close it up. Okay, that's looking pretty good, yeah? Okay, so now we're going to go up to the first part of the Y. So hold the letter down that you made and swoop up the wire so it's following that line. Here we're going to do another sharp bend because we can't make this go one line, so we're going to find where we want it to go down, and then we're going to squeeze it closed. This one I'm going to squeeze pretty tight so it looks like it's one line. Okay. So a little high but not too bad. So we're going to swoop the wire up again. And a little persnickety. Okay, so that's pretty good. So let's check and see where we need to bend it. Right there. Okay. Okay. So I think we have the starting of a Y going. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm just going to take my nylon jaw tools and just kind of straighten this out a little. Just because starting to get a little bumpy. And to keep your work neat, you want to keep your wires straight. Alright, so hold down your Y where you want it, and put my finger there. So if you want a little tighter of a closure down there, go ahead and squeeze it, and then you can bring your wire back up. See? Alright. And then we're going to bend it a little and give it a swoop. Okay, so now we have our word. But I am not too happy with the way the O is there, so I'm going to just squeeze it down a little bit more. And then kind of move it back. So there you are. There's the word joy. Now if I wanted to connect this to a like a necklace or something, I would say connection would be good right about here. So I'm going to cut off that much. I'm going to grab this with my needle nose, round nose pliers, and I'm just going to turn it around and make a little loop, and then I'm going to bring it back, break the neck. So now we have an eye. Alright, and let's see. So let's cut off this much. Always watch your scraps, guys. We don't want to poke your eye out. And I'm going to make another pin there. That is not the same size. Let's shrink that up a little bit. That's close. And break the neck. So now we have something that we can attach to chain or to some soft flex wire, whatever you want. So now we have joy. Alright, now this part is kind of important. There's a couple of options that you can do. I have a tool called a wire whacker, which is basically two nylon plates. And what I'm going to do is work harden this, because right now the wire is pretty soft. Even though we worked it for a little bit, it can still bend out of shape really easy. So you can use a wire whacker like this, or if you have a pair of, not a pair, but a nylon ended hammer and a hard surface, I would suggest either another piece of nylon or steel, and you can also use a rubber mallet on nylon or steel. The thing is, you don't want the surfaces to be too hard or else you can mar your wire. So basically we just want to just kind of hit it a couple of times, and what this is doing is simply changing the molecular structure in the wire to harden it up. You can also, if you are lucky and you have a tumbler, you can tumble these and they'll get all shiny and they'll also work harden. So now it's not quite as soft. Things are not bending as easy. So there you go. Joy, love, and mom. Alright, I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this. You can use this technique with any picture that's a line drawing. So this is really good if you want to make pendants that look like birds or turtles or bats for Halloween. You can use a line drawing of the animal and just follow that line drawing with your wire, and then use other wire or beads and kind of fill it in. And then remember to work harden it. Alright? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I did. And I hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.